Shaedon Sharpe. What is
This kid can fly, athletic.
The real reason he sat out was because he was cooking Kentucky players in practice.
You draft, Jaden Ivey or Shaedon Sharpe, and then go spend money on DeAndre Ayton, and then now you got an even better team.
This is a guy that I think could take the Pistons to another level.
Shaedon Sharpe.
Yeah.
What is this? I've never seen anything I can't think of anything like this in recent memory. Why is he so highly regarded and we haven't seen him on the court?
Well, we kind of hinted at it earlier, but number one player coming out of high school. I mean, he out of Canada, obviously 6'6". He's got size. It was unofficial, but he had a vertical test. 49 inches. It's ridiculous. And I think Michael Jordan had 48 inches. I think that was his. So it's like this kid can fly, athletic. That's kind of my ideal backcourt with Cade. I always wanted another tall guard with Cade, and kind of does maybe opposite of what Cade does great at other things. And listen, Shaedon Sharpe kind of fits that mold. I think he has the highest ceiling in the draft. I just think teams, they like to look at other players, especially when this draft is so cloudy. You kind of go, well, you know what? I'm going to take a guy who went to college, and I got to see him play this year. Like, teams kind of shy away from him taking a year off, which is kind of, I don't really agree with it because it's still upside and potential. But again, whoever takes him, you're going to need to be a little patient with him getting back to, he's going to take some time to hit his potential. He's not going to come out guns a-blazing after taking a year off, especially, in the NBA. So I think he has the highest ceiling. I wouldn't have a problem with the pick. I'm in favor of it. But that's kind of why. Teams are just a little iffy. He'll still go top 5, top 6, in my opinion. He's too damn talented.
In the NBA, where your contracts are guaranteed, doesn't that worry you guys a little bit though? Like him just taking a year off, and it's like, is that not weird?
Well, he entered. I believe he wasn't eligible at the time, just because of his age. So he had to take a year off. Now that he's eligible for the NBA draft, he just said, "Well, screw it. I'll just go right to the NBA draft."
Not at that age, easy.
No,
young. How old is he? 18.
Yeah,
18. No,
19.
Young enough, and I think that. To your point, maybe in the past and stuff like this, it'd be detrimental. But we all went through COVID. We all figured out how to, as athletes, as people, whatever, all our routines changed. So I think that being that young, it definitely won't hurt them. It should make them hungrier, but understanding the process. And I think, this was a conversation. And it always comes back to when a kid like this comes out and he's as special as it goes back to the Kobe Bryant conversation about coming out of, high school.
Right.
When can the kid come out early? So
and Kobe took a year and then he became, you know what I mean?
Right, that's what I'm saying. And that didn't deter what it might in the immediate need time to catch up to speed. But when you're that talented and, and you're Canadian.
Yeah,
well, it scares me because we have the whole Ben Simmons thing, right? There's this girl, she said she wanted a man who don't play no game, so I went and bought a Ben Simmons jersey. But no, with Shaedon Sharpe though.
Where'd you steal that one?
Some internet meme.
Yeah,
good job, D-Mac. You had to call him out.
Listen, I got next couple days.
Shameless.
The D-Mac show tonight and tomorrow, South Lions. So I know.
Yeah,
I'm not a comedian. I got comedians, so I know you stole that from somebody.
Spinny, with
everybody
because you bash on Ben Simmons all the time.
Yeah.
How's this any different for you? What changed this for you?
Ben Simmons is a chump. Well, first of all, it's college and not the pros. He's not getting paid for it. He's not signing a contract. I think they shouldn't have to go to college. I think if basketball players want to come out of high school, they should be able to come out of high school. Because why? Forcing them to go to college, and now they're getting NIL money, which is still not worth it. You can go out there and you can have a Paul George or you can have a Kevin Ware injury and you can have your career destroyed right in front of you. And so we heard some inside information from Pistons Talk, our guy Anthony in the back, saying the real reason he sat out was because he was cooking Kentucky players in practice. He was murdering every player on that Kentucky roster, and they wouldn't have been drafted as high if Shaedon Sharpe would have went out there and he would have put on a show. He would have went out there, he would have been the clear number one pick. He would have this guy, well, maybe not the number one pick, but on that roster, he would have been the clear highest draft pick. And so they wanted to save these guys. And it was I read a couple articles, and they said, it's all in the plan that he's sitting out this year. Kentucky assistant coaches, it's in the plan that he's sitting out this year, and he's going to come back next year, and he's going to lead the team. And he said, screw it. I'm going to go make $100 million in the NBA. I'm not going to be playing college basketball again. I don't blame him at all. Now, if you sign a contract and you're getting paid hundreds of millions of dollars and you're sitting out because you're Ben Simmons and you're a chump, that's a different story,
Different case, Easy.
Yeah, that makes more
But
sense.
Easy loves chumps.
Yeah. All right, so we talked about Jalen Duren, Jeff.
Yep.
And obviously DeAndre Ayton, the Detroit Pistons. I don't know if you saw this. Actually, no, you're the one who brought it up last night on the Pistons stream.
Yeah.
We're the favorite to land him. Who would you rather have, given the choice between the two? Would you rather have the Pistons draft Jalen Duren at 5 or spend some money on DeAndre Ayton? That's wild
listen,
odds.
the answer's easy for me because, no pun intended, it's easy for me.
Easy,
But
baby.
all I'd
Easy,
have to
baby.
do is you draft, Jaden Ivey or Shaedon Sharpe, and then go spend money on DeAndre Ayton, and then now you got an even better team.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of how I know what DeAndre Ayton is. That's kind of my process of thinking. Like, he's a great player. Now, how it ended with the Phoenix Suns, I think he's definitely out of there. I mean, there's a chance they can re-sign him. Of course, he's restricted. They can match the offer, but just the turmoil. I mean, the Suns have a lot of other contracts coming up the books in the next couple of years, and I think he wants to explore free agency. So we'll see. I would love him to come to Detroit. I would prefer him over Jalen Duren. I think just because I know DeAndre Ayton, I don't even know if he's hit his full potential. I mean, he's a beast.
And he's still
we'll
only
see.
20 years old.
He
Right.
needs to be in a spot.
He just feels
where
disrespected.
he's nurtured a
Yeah.
little bit, not babied, but nurtured. You know, some guys need nurturing. You know what I mean, in a different way, and that comes from inside your locker room more than anything else. And I think this is more to the dysfunction of the Phoenix Suns and of Chris Paul maybe as the lead, like the Chris Paul, like the work hard in your face, all this stuff, get to do that. The stats speak for themselves, but there's a fine line to get over the edge, and it's a dressing room nurture, and it's not by one person, it's by the whole locker room in a way. So I'd like to just see him, because do you not agree, Jeff? What we saw at the end with DeAndre Ayton and Williams, the coach, and stuff like that, this is just something that had blown up and then losing, and that just
Right.
magnified
It's
it
been
all.
building up.
It's been built up. But I think that's the everything's great over here. We're winning games. We're number one. Look at this. And it really isn't that good. So we can agree that he's not going to be a Phoenix Sun again, more than likely.
I think it's a 50-50 more so. I mean, it might be the Suns. He might not want to be a Phoenix Sun, but I think the Suns might be like, listen, he's too damn good. They know how important he is to their team. So, listen, I would also have no problem with the Detroit Pistons not really spending big money this offseason. I've also said that. So, it just depends. We'll see.
Isn't the big money offseason next year? Isn't
In the
that
next
what
couple
it
years.
is?
And even not, you can get a trade. I mean, you saw the New Orleans Pelicans. They went out and got CJ McCollum midseason. What did it do for their team? I mean, you can go out
Yeah.
and get different players. So don't count out midseason acquisitions. Never. Can't do it.
The Game 7 doesn't change things for you, though?
I mean, of course, but I think like D-Mac was kind of alluding to as well. I mean, this is a former number 1 overall pick that is a key part of your team, and you don't get him a deal done as an extension. You let him play in the last year of your deal, and there's no guarantees with that. I mean, he could have got injured this year. I mean, that's a big possibility. So I think it's just a lot of disrespect. I mean, who knows? The Phoenix Suns and their organization, what they're going through from the top to the bottom, more so at the top as of late legally. But there's things they got to work out. I don't think they'll let DeAndre Ayton go. But listen, if we're talking the big fish in this class, it's DeAndre Ayton to me. I don't want anything else.
Flannel Sam, you said you were excited about today's show. Was this a topic you had an opinion on?
Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Ayton, he looks like he's on his way out of the Suns, like Jeff said. The way it ended, or possibly ended in Phoenix, it didn't look very good, but he's still so young. He's a 7-footer. He's a walking double-double. He's a 63% shooter, and he's improved his three-point shooting, although he doesn't do it very much. This is a guy that I think could take the Pistons to another level, and if we have a chance to get like a Shaedon Sharpe or even a Jaden Ivey or Keegan Murray, that's a guy that could pair with them and could create quite a starting lineup. What do you think, Jeff?
I would love it. I mean, that's a team that we talk about play-in tournament. If you're talking play-in, you got to go get. I mean, look at the East. You can go to right now and look at the standings and kind of guess who's going to be in the play-in tournament. They're still pretty damn. I mean, they're decent rosters, and the Pistons right now need a lot of things. So they got to make some moves, and I think DeAndre Ayton would be that move. But we'll see.
Man, I'm all over the place with this one. I'm coming in today. You saw it on Twitter, D-Mac. I said, I'm going to sell you guys on Keegan Murray. But you guys kind of got me thinking about the Shaedon Sharpe thing. I'm excited at the prospect of what he could become. The only reason why I like Keegan Murray, though, was I was looking at Luka. And that's case, that's been his pro comparison You throw out his rookie year, and even now, you see Luka in the Western Conference Finals right now. That team is really just him and a platoon of wings. They're able to play the 3 and D, and I think Keegan Murray could be one of those.
Yeah, Keegan Murray reminds me of kind of like what we see out of the big men that are left in the NBA playoffs right now. We see a Grant Williams, we see a Bam Adebayo, we see a Dwight Powell. These guys that are not legit, big guy centers. These are not legit 7-footers. They are 6'8" to 6'10" guys who can play defense, who can do a little bit of everything on offense. So Keegan Murray actually reminds me a lot of Bam Adebayo, but I think his offensive game is a little bit better, but his defense isn't as good as Bam's. Like, Keegan is a better shooter than Bam Adebayo, and he can take people off the dribble better than Bam can, but his defense is nowhere near the caliber of Bam Adebayo. But like how he plays, his body type, his role in the offense, I could see it being like what we see in the conference finals games right now with those type of big men that are not these 7-foot, Jokic or Embiids.
Yeah.
They're these guys that can switch off different positions. They can kind of play positionless basketball, which is what the NBA is about now. So Keegan Murray wouldn't be a bad pick by any means, but I really want that dynamic backcourt option to go with Cade, and then we can get, because if we get Ayton or Mitchell Robinson, I think that's what we need. We need that big body down there, and we don't need as much of the switch guy. So we'll see. I'd rather us draft Shaedon Sharpe and then sign Mitchell Robinson to a cheaper contract than throw in the bag at Ayton. But I trust in Troy. All faith in Troy Weaver.
And that's a great point he brought up as well with the NBA nowadays. Like, that's where it's heading. Versatility. You need guys that are 6'8" to 6'10". I mean, look at the Celtics. That was a great point he brought up. How the Celtics and even Miami and look at all the teams now left in the conference finals. I mean, these are all teams that kind of had this mold. Versatility, multiple guys that are that size, and Keegan Murray would not be mad at that pick at all.
No, you said the best thing you got going for Easy is that Juicy said that he's probably the safest pick right there. And I think that if you're going to build like that, it's just when does Troy Weaver decide to drop the hammer? When's he in a position? Who is that? And I think more to your point, you see not only just draft day, but in the NBA, there's more movement. There is more movement in season. Like, we didn't see it before. It's like the NFL at the trade deadline. You never used to see anybody get traded. Now there's movement. I think they get the money right. So I think that the first thing that you said is what you want to get at this number 5 pick is a guy that's going to be here for 10 or 12 years, a guy that can continue to play. And from Troy Weaver's background, he's going to find the best available and the best guy.